Welcome back, loves, to episode 3 of Black Women in Business, The Dirty Truth. Thank you for joining us on another Wednesday to just have an honest conversation. We have enjoyed each and every one of you that have engaged with us when we're live and after the fact. Some good conversations have come from these chats, and I know that it's needed for me. So I'm sure you ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, need it too. So today's episode is another one. I feel like we kind of mentioned it off camera, like we're coming out swinging. And this is another topic that kind of gets swept under the rug because bad feelings come up, and there's a lot of it's like politics. This conversation is like politics because there's a lot of like left, right, no middle, there's no collaboration. There's just a lot going on with it. And we wanted to talk about it because all three of us are in this space one way or another. We touch on different points, which I think is beautiful. It marries this relationship really well. But we want to tackle it because all three of us are passionate about wellness and, moreover, being proactive versus reactive. And I know a lot of you are probably like, feeling some type of way. So then, yes, we're about to be talking to you. But I know for me personally, I have a story of being reactive versus proactive. And sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you make that switch and realize how important it is to take care of yourself before it all falls. So I hope y'all are ready. We're going to dig right on in. So let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. I know for me, I'll just hop in if that's okay. I actually feel like I was given a nice foundation to ask the questions. So one of the things that sometimes my husband gets annoyed with me is I ask questions, I ask questions, I ask questions. So growing up, my parents, like my daddy always was like, always ask the question. The worst thing they can do is say no, right? Always ask the questions. If you're not clear about something, if you don't understand something, you better ask them questions. And then on the other side of that coin, at a young age, I had a lot of health challenges. And my mom was very adamant about asking questions. Like, what else can we do? You know, she's young. Like, we want to know other things. So I was very, very, very fortunate to kind of grow up with that. I don't take anything with face value, right? And for me, my personality, if a lot of people are doing it, I'm like, a little skeptical. I'm not sure about it. So I want to just really, really start with what is proactive versus reactive, right? And when we talk proactive, it really, really is simply what you do every single day to support your body. Okay. Whereas reactive is I have a symptom, I have a problem, now what? And there's so many times, especially being in this field, people know me. I have a reputation when it comes to like wellness and the oils and things like that. And they come to me after, right? They come to me reactively, like, oh my goodness, I can't breathe and the seasons are changing and the environment's bad. What do I do? Right. And I will, of course, help. But I want you to know that if the seasons change and your body isn't adapt to the change, there's something wrong with your system that wasn't supported before the weather changed. Okay. We have normalized things like allergies, colds, flu. Those things have always been around and they will always be around. But if your system is built properly and you have the right tools, when those things occur in your elements, you're going to be able to fight it. And I say that because I was one that I literally could not breathe ever. Like when people told me they had seasonal allergies, I'd be like, oh, there's times where you can breathe. That must be nice. because literally I would wake up every day. Like, you can ask all my siblings, if y'all watching, y'all can hallelujah in the comments. I would wake up every single morning, blowing out in the morning, like it was all congestion all year round. Like, I was just always like that. Like, by midday, it'd get a little better. And then I would take all of the medicines and all of the things, and I would still not be able to breathe. And I'd just be drowsy and feel like I'm like hallucinating, right? Like, so it was like, this is a silly cycle. And so I know firsthand for me that when I was able to finally get a hold of the right tools to be proactive, I was like, oh my goodness, this is how normal people live. Like, this is wow. And now I don't fear when the seasons change. I don't fear when I'm exposed to other people. I don't fear, and I'm not saying I don't take precautions, but what I'm saying is I know that I have the tools and my body is adapted to it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I remembered when I first started using essential oils, and for me, it was like easy to jump in, but I know a lot of people have that hesitation. And when you brought up is your system, there's something going on inside. I can remember, and I heard this analogy, and whoever, if you said it originally and you hear me, I'm giving you credit. I just don't know who it was, but it was like you had those friends or whatever where it's like every December they're like, oh, I always get X, Y, and Z. Like, I always, every first week of December, this always happens to me. I'm super, super sick. And it's like, that's not normal. Like, the weather doesn't just say, okay, it's December 31st, I'm coming for you. It's something staying around. Like, whatever you had, you never actually got rid of. You just band-aided it, and it's still hanging out. Like, it's like taking off your makeup. You just took a wipe and you went to bed and you woke up, it was all over your pillow because you didn't actually clean everything out. So yeah, when I heard that analogy, I was like, "Ooh," because I know a lot of people who, like in high school, would come and they'll be like, every year it was the same thing. They would end up with, "Oh, I've had," and I don't think it was pneumonia, but something like that. I get it every year. Like, how are you getting this every year?
So I used to be that person. I used to get strep throat every single year, and I'd be on antibiotics every single, just like you're saying, every single year I'd get strep throat. Then I get a new strand of antibiotics. Then those antibiotics wouldn't work, and then I have to get a new strand because I got used to it every single year. But keep going.
I think it was strep throat was the analogy. Like, was like their daughter would get strep throat every year at the same time, and it's like, I'm not coming from a place of like I came out the womb like knowing all the things. Like, this took time to get to this place, but when you learn and you hear it and you're open-minded to it, you realize, yo, that makes sense. Because if you're getting it every time the weather gets cold, like, what are you doing that's allowing this monster to come back up? Right? Like, and that is the reactiveness. You're waiting. Like, if you know December 3rd, you about to be out for a month, you think you would do what you need to do instead of, like Dayna's saying, I'll just wait. They'll give me a new antibiotic strain and I'll be good. And then next year I'll do the same thing. And yeah.
That is so crazy because, like, I started using essential oils just because of my son. He was sickly. And I was one of those people that just went along with it because as a kid, I didn't go to the doctor like that. My folks just, whatever, we didn't go to the doctor. And so when we got sick, that's when we would react. Okay, something is wrong. Let's take something. So when I had my son, it was being married to my husband. He knew what to do because he has allergies and all that stuff going on. I say that in episode, but he has all that stuff going on. So I was just following along with what he was saying. And so my son would literally November, December, we're in the ER because he can't breathe or he's breaking out with something. And I'm just taking what they're telling me to use. It's not working. And I'm needing something else. And there was no other alternatives. I didn't know about being proactive because I just went along with what was given to me.
Yeah.
And so I didn't ask questions. And it was just like, okay, one day I got fed up and was like, okay, I can't do this no more. I'm not taking medication no more. I don't want my son taking medication. We just gonna stop And so not taking medication and then just not taking care of yourself, that don't go hand in hand. So being brought back into it, and it's frustrating. But I'm glad that we know something now. But to piggyback off of what both of y'all said, I recently just fell under the weather because I preach about being consistent. Use your stuff. You buy stuff, just use it. I got stuff all around my house, in my office, in my living room, in the kitchen. I don't know why I didn't. I just entered the fence just right there. Didn't take it. I used to take it every day. I just, whatever, didn't take it. And now I'm sick. Can't breathe. I need to wear a mask around my kids. I'm coughing up a lot. Like, what is going on? Oh, well, you didn't take your stuff like you normally do. Now you being reactive. It's a mess.
You brought up another good point, Andriana, asking the questions. I know, and it is a culture, and I want to kind of preface this by saying, all my doctor friends out there, all my nurse friends, anybody in the medical field, I love y'all. I have much love for you. I cannot, just like teachers, I cannot imagine. But it's culturally, we were brought up, I know I was in that area, you go to the doctor because you have that expectation that they've done all the years in school and they're all, they're graying, they're wisdomous. I don't know if that's a word, but they're just everything. And so you expect that something happens, you go, they take care of you and they tell you it's this. And so you do this. And then when it doesn't work, you go back and you do it. But we have to advocate for ourselves. And I know being a woman, that can be very hard. There are some again, I'm not attacking nobody. I'm coming from experience, but I know being a woman that can be really hard because depending on who you're talking to, you can feel like, they calling you a wuss. And I am by far not. I am pretty pain tolerant. So if I end up at your spot 2 and 3 times, it's something going on. But we have to advocate for ourselves. I know we can't be lazy. I'm just going to say it. We can't be lazy about our health. I mean, if somebody tells you this is what you have and you feel off about it, do a little research. I know some doctors will probably jump on here and be like, nope, don't do that because we don't want to hear. But I would rather go in and ask the most ridiculous questions and have you answer them and feel confident and safe in whatever choice I'm about to make versus just going willy-nilly, because I had my gallbladder removed 2010, I think. And I just expected after my surgery that everybody was just going to tell me what to do. My surgeon was amazing. I was scared. They thought I was having a heart attack, but I just don't like surgery. So I was freaking out. But I thought when I went back and they told me what I could and couldn't do, they would tell me what I needed to do. Because, I heard, you can live without a gallbladder. And I said to the ladies beforehand, you can live, but you cannot thrive if you don't know what it means to be living without this. They make it seem like you don't really need it, but it's massive. This little thing does so much in your life. So you have to advocate, because I didn't. And then by the time that I did, it's why I talk about self-care. That's my proactive piece to the world, because I know you're going to come to me, like Dayna said, after the fact and be like, child, I should have listened to you. And now I'm at this point, but I'm doing it because I want you to at least start thinking about it so you don't get to where I was, to putting on 30, 40 pounds prior to then having a baby, adding to it, further plummeting your hormones, which was all in correlation to not only my environment, my emotional and mental state, but also losing that one organ that was supposed to be not a big deal. And I didn't advocate for myself and ask questions. And, I just took, you're too young and you're this and you're that. So really, really dig deep. Like Andriana said, I cannot say enough. Don't be afraid. Ask the questions. And again, I know culturally we're set up to go to the specialist, go to the person that knows it and just take their word. And it's not a bash to them, but listen to that. Your gut really is telling you no, that's not what I need. And lean into that. It's okay to lean into that.
And one of the things I would like too, when you think of and I'll just use this for lack of better wording because traditional, because I actually believe traditional really is the natural stuff because that's what was here first. But our traditional way of handling our health versus a holistic way of handling our health. And a lot of times I like to kind of use, since we're using analogies, when you think about like the traditional way, like medicine has its place, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I break my arm, I'm not going to rub some oils on it and hope that it gets back in place, right? Like, I'm going to go to a medical professional and I'm going to have them readjust it and put it back and pop it in where it's supposed to be, right? And then give me what I need because it's broken. And that's what medicine should be. It should be, you've tried everything else under the sun and it's just not working the way it's supposed to work and you need a reboot. And the thing with medicine is, for the most part, you shouldn't have to continuously depend on it because it should be something that reboots you and then now you can be back there working. A lot of times what I see or have seen happen is because people have relied so much on the medicine that the actual organs or the actual pieces no longer know how to act. And they're like, oh, well, I guess you don't need me. So I guess I'll chill and I won't work anymore. So take the immunity, for example, right? If every time you fall under the wellness line and you're using medicine instead of supporting your own immune system to build itself up and fight, at some point, it's going to stop fighting. It's going to be like, well, I'm not needed because that's what our bodies and our systems do. Whereas when you think of like a more holistic way of doing it, it's a suggestion to the body, right? It's a suggestion. It's like, this is where we're supposed to be. And I'm just going to suggest that you stay like that. And so sometimes it takes a little bit more time. So I tell people all the time. So I've been with Young Living now, I think I'm going on 7 years, I think. But when I tell my story, I've only in the last 5 years been able to dodge anything major health-wise between myself and everyone in my home. And the reason I say it like that, because it took me probably 2 years to get all the crap out of our homes, out of our systems, out of our bodies, to try to retrain our bodies to be able to operate the way they were supposed to. So, and again, this is not a diss to anyone out there, but I was a bottle-fed baby. I was an antibiotic child. So we only are born with so many enzymes. And enzymes, I know we preach about the gut all the time. If you don't know how important your gut is, please message one of us after this because it's so important to your immunity and to all of the other pieces. But we only have so many different enzymes. And if you are on antibiotics, right? Or if you didn't get that beautiful breast milk from your mama, right? Like you probably already started with less enzymes than everybody else. That's why I was always a sickly child. And it wasn't until I started replenishing those things and taking extra enzymes. I take enzymes with every single meal just to like operate like a normal person. And I still can't the majority of things, right? But now my system knows how to show up. Now my system, and that's a holistic way of living versus the traditional way where medicine is like just doing it for you. And you're like, oh, I have no need. So I really do think it's important that we also like take a look at what does that look like for me in my life.
And I want to ask both of y'all, because I like what you said of it took you 2 years to get everything out of your house. How can you explain to someone, hey, using the natural way or the traditional way, this is not going to happen overnight. You have to consistently work at it because people are looking at like, I'm sick now. I need something now. Why won't it work now? Or this is not working for me. So I've got to go back to this.
Well, I mean, take antibiotics. They tell you have to take it every day for 7 days, the same time, every single day. And if you don't take it for the 7 days, the 10 days, the 21 days, whatever you're given, you're not clear of it. So that didn't happen overnight. Your swollen glands hanging out the side of your neck didn't just go down when you woke up. So why are you more, and this is a legit question that I would love for those listening right now live and those on the replay, hashtag us replay so we know we need to come in and holla at you. But why do you expect something natural to work fast and you're okay with waiting for it prescribed in a plastic bottle to do the 21 days? Like, what is it what's different? Is it just hard to believe? Because like Dayna said, we say it's the original way. It's the original way. Like there weren't, look, you can go back and see that it's not thousands of years old Western medicine. These are all fairly new things, and people stayed well. They stayed well. I mean, might have got taken out by some things, but I mean, we're being taken out by some things, and we're supposed to have one of the most evolved healthcare systems in the world, and we just took a major hit. So why are you so okay with waiting the 21 days, but you want, because I'm telling you it's a plant for it to, like, waving my voodoo wand and you're going to wake up tomorrow and be just fine? I mean, to Dayna's point, sometimes it happens. But when I first started using oils, I'm with Dayna, when I started using them for sleep, and I got the best full sleep I had had in a really long time. But like Dayna said, it's because my body was so jacked up that when this thing, it wasn't a suggestion, it was a get your behind, get your behind in check. But it was this thing that came in and that my body was like, yo, this is the life. Okay, we're gonna follow you. It's not disrupting. This is working with me. This is working with me naturally to do, I can use it. It's not foreign to me. So it did. But as I went in and did all of the things, now it became consistent. Because the first time that I did, and it was like, it's not there. It's not floating around in my body like this new little hitchhiker. It has to be you. So why are you comfortable and okay with this 21-day regimen, but not okay with something that's gonna maybe take the same amount of time?
I feel like maybe because I don't have a white coat on and they do, is why you're not listening. I'm sorry for y'all I'm sorry. I don't know. As a doula, I have clients that come to me, hey, I just need you to be like my defensive line because I can't talk to the doctor. I can't. I feel like they're not going to listen to me. And most of my clients, majority, look like me. And so they tend to think, well, I'm a woman, I'm Black. They're going to automatically think, well, if I get out of line, I'm being hostile, or they're going to see me this way. So I'm going to just be quiet and just take what they say and I'm just go along with it. And they're not going to listen to me. So I need you as my doula to just step in, be my defensive line, talk to them, because I can't. I have somebody like that right now. Mm-hmm. And she is so nervous of going to the doctor because she feels like she will not be heard if she says, oh, I jammed my toe last night. What can I do? And that's sad. How many people are out there just like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's one of those things that's like easier said than done, and I don't like to use that, but the same way that I'm sure all of us have faced the same adversities with, finding our friend post X, Y, and Z, and you're like, well, sis, let me hook you up. And they're like, no, I don't want that. But the same way you're that way for something that you don't know by somebody you've known for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, that doctor is still human. They're still a human being. They may be more versed in the technological side of things or in the scientific thing. Beyond the fact that I know how it works within my body, I don't really care about the science. Like, I look into it as it goes along, and I look at PubMed studies and that kind of thing. But the same way you're easy to tell your sister, your cousin, your best friend, your wife, whatever the case may be, no to something because you're not sure of it, they're still human. So direct them the same way. It's your body, it's your life. It's going to cost you. Maybe not up front, but it will later. So one way or another, you're going to pay for, and that cost is too high to me. It's too high.
Yeah, and I will say, especially for those that are listening, like, what I love, Andriana, like, you are for her that support. So maybe you feel something similar as her client feels.
Mm-hmm.
Use tools and people to help you get to that place. Maybe you aren't at the place where you feel like you can speak your truth and vocalize. Because I will say this, and even I have a health coach, and I know for me, I don't always feel like I can speak in an educated manner
Mm-hmm.
with confidence to my doctor, even though I know what I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had her break it down to like, this is what I want to convey. Can you put it in question form so that I can take it to the doctor? You know what I mean? So if you're listening, if you're in that same place, reach out to other people that can also help to vocalize what it is that you're trying to convey. Don't let that be your fear or what keeps you from being an advocate and working alongside your medical professionals.
Right.
Absolutely. Tools. Use them tools. Andriana, like she said, just a doula. So reach out. That wasn't something that I knew about, but that wasn't an option with my insurance. TRICARE don't do that. So I didn't have that. But absolutely, tools and resources, asking all the questions and having, it's support. We talked about it in our first episode, in episode 1. If you've not seen it, go and check it out. For the love of support, find a support system. So, find those people that will, everybody's got one of those girlfriends. Maybe it's even a guy friend that'll be like, come on, I'm gonna go with you, and we're gonna, square this away, because sometimes you need that, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. But yeah, advocate for yourself, support each other, use those tools and resources that are out there, because there's a lot. You just have to ask. And y'all, we love you and we thank you for hanging out with us for another epic episode 3. We will be back next week, Wednesday, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 5 o'clock. Central. 5 o'clock Central. Y'all, I was about to say Pacific, and I was like, no, that ain't it. So rewind that, go back. We'll be back next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central Time, right here for another amazing topic. We hope to see you then. Stay well.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining.
Bye.